I watch again now. Callum, he did nothing. I wait in the best league in the world that everything has to be better. So I think that the VAR for me is a good solution, but I think that the referees, they have to use overtime.
Can you understand and explain the reaction of your captain today when he was substituted?
He's wrong. He's wrong, but we are going to speak inside about that situation. And I want to listen him and also to be calm. But really, he was wrong in this action.
Right, quite a lot to discuss after that game. Very little of it involving the actual football. But as far as Palace are concerned, their form against the big clubs continues to be impressive.
Yeah, very good. Defensively as well. I know the goalkeeper may have been at fault for, I'd say, the first goal. He came into a bunch of players that he was never going to get it for. But I think Tompkins, Cahill, you know, Ayew is doing very, very well in that role up front for him. And I thought that they done well, especially going 2 down away from home. But Arsenal are playing the kind of football at the moment that even when you go 2 down, you probably still fancy yourself to get involved with it in respect to the amount of chances they're giving up at the minute.
Right, let's deal with the winner that wasn't. We were told by the PGMOL, the VAR official made a subjective decision that Chambers tripped Milivojevic and affected his ability to clear the ball.
Well, I've seen it 406 times. I can't see anything clear and obvious about that. I thought Socrates in his interview took it really, really well. I'd have been absolutely fuming if this goal was taken away from me.
There are pushes and boots flying everywhere from back. I mean, Cahill there.
Pushed him there. He's coming. No, he's knocked.
This is where they're saying.
He's knocked Callum over.
Saying it here and here.
Look,
that contact there. Yeah. But if you look at Cahill's pushing into him, into Chambers, I mean, there's so much going on. How you can call a foul in there and overturn the decision, quite clearly not clear and obvious. And that television screen reminded me of my Burnley career last season.
How much use you were?
Yeah, I was underused and very sad.
on the screen. So then we were told the screen is there for when what the referee is told has happened doesn't tally with what he thinks he's seen. Mm-hmm. So surely in that situation, if he's told there is a foul there, rather than just accept it, if you follow that, he should then go and look at the screen, shouldn't he?
Well, he needs to go. No, we just don't look at the screen in this country for some reason. In the Bundesliga, I think they use it. It's like 40, 50 times the referee's gone to look at the screen. But having said that, I mean, what's he going to see? Not enough for me.
What? And therefore he would have allowed the goal?
He has to. Well, it's not clear and obvious. There's nothing clear and obvious about that.
The thing with the fans sitting in the fans sitting in the crowd paying money haven't got a clue what's going on. I can't get my head around. The Premier League have to do something about it. They can't be sitting there not knowing what is going on.
So for that very reason, we went back and looked at it. It's 1 minute 20 between the ball hitting the back of the net and us first seeing Martin Atkinson put his finger to his ear. Yeah. And it's eventually 1 minute and 55 seconds until it is ruled out. But nothing is explained to the fans in the ground. They don't see anything. So that's 2 minutes of utter confusion. I mean, this system completely ignores the lifeblood of the game, which is people who pay their money to go week in, week out and watch football. They're being treated like idiots.
Ain't got a clue what's going on.
You see Socrates' celebration as well, like unbridled joy, thinks he's scored the winner. It's been taken away from him by a decision. It's ridiculous, in my opinion. You
know what I did like about it, though, when it was used for Crystal Palace's penalty, because the swiftness in which Martin Atkinson wanted to book Wilfried Zaha for a foul that I cannot understand he didn't see. Was for me the VAR worked.
It did work there.
It did work there, but what it showed me, if VAR weren't there, how quickly he wanted to book him for being fouled.
We're going to look at Granit Xhaka in a little while as part of this analysis. It starts really with
we're going to look in when it goes into Matt Guendouzi, he's in a lot of space, but he doesn't seem to want the ball. Now, I don't like players getting booed is not the best at the best times. This is the captain. Now, I think that they're frustrated with the fact that he's not run off the pitch. I've seen him substituted before, and he's bolted off the pitch. This time, he's walked off. Now he's goading them. We're talking about fans that have watched him play out. In the 4 years he's been there, a handful of good games, and he's treating the fans like that. He should apologise. That's the captain. He should be apologising. He should have apologised already.
And if he apologises, that's the end of it.
It's not a case of that's the end of it, but that's the guy that they've chosen as the captain, and that's not captain's behaviour.
You think if he'd have actually thrown that shirt, he'd have been done for?
Yeah, I think disrespecting the shirt. When he took it off, I thought he was going to throw it. I think disrespecting the shirt, that could have been the end, but the fans wouldn't have tolerated
Arsenal fans have shown a lot of patience with him and the performances he's put in. He owes them a lot more than acting like that.
I have to say, there's nothing worse as a footballer in the world, getting booed by your own fans. But you can't legislate for that kind of action.
But if you're frustrated, you can understand that it must be very hard. I've never been in that position. It must be very hard sometimes. You're getting booed by your fans, not to react.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
He's the captain.
I know.
He's the captain, and so he's got the responsibility of being able to take that on board because he's been voted as a captain. You can't go like that. You know, the amount of stick that someone like Mesut Ozil's got, I can understand if Mesut Ozil came up and threw his shirt down. He's the captain.
All right.
Manager's got faith in him.
We have to move on. On to Norwich versus...
Well, Unai, is the right word for the end of that game confusion?
Confusion? Why?
The goal that you thought you'd won the game with, and then it went away from you.
Really, this evening I didn't understand the referees and the VAR reaction. For example, last week we received one penalty, very clear. Didn't check in the VAR, that's what we were drawing. Okay, but with respect. 2 weeks ago we received here one penalty more clear than today to Pepe. Well, the last matches here against Bournemouth. Didn't check, okay? It's perfect. This is the way they decided, and today they check all. And they check all, but our goal, the first goal, I don't understand why he didn't concede it. Okay, but we can speak about that. But you asked me first that confusion. For me, it's not confusion. It's not good decision. And then is the match. But the match is very conditioned for that. That's a decision for the referee and for the VAR. And then we deserve to win. And I think a very good reaction after they draw. And the player very good attitude. We created chances to score again the third goal. We scored the third goal, and it was a good goal, but then they didn't concede it.
Another afternoon where we've seen VAR in full effect. You get the penalty because of a VAR review. I think we saw your face when it wasn't given in the first place. So good use of it there.
Yes, I mean, I'm glad for Martin as well, because otherwise, if it hadn't have been, you know, if in the pre-VAR days that penalty hadn't been given, and then he'd have had a chance maybe to see it on the television, and all the pundits would have seen it on the television, everyone would have said, oh, that's a very clear penalty, because I thought, even though I'm quite a long way away, I thought that was a very clear penalty. So I was pleased that got overturned to make it 2-1 for us. And then, of course, we got another VAR decision which went our way at the end. But, you know, there was a lot of, you know, pushing going on in the box, so I'm pleased that the referee was able to correct his initial decision, and we got 2-2, which I think we deserved overall.
So for the second time this season, Arsenal have thrown away a 2-goal lead. We saw what happened last weekend against Sheffield United. I think the fans wanted to see a bit of a reaction today, but again, they just walked away with the 1 point. Where do we assess Arsenal? Where are they at the moment?
Same place they've been for probably the last about 4 or 5 years. So I mean, it is. It's one of those things of Arsenal where I think it's starting to boil away at Arsenal in that stadium again. You're starting to sense the frustration. They look susceptible to be conceding goals on a regular basis. I don't think their fans trust their players to be able to see out a result. They don't expect to go to places like Sheffield United and get a win. And that's where they've been for a number of years now. And what that is down to is difficult to put your finger on. I think some of the purchases they've made have not been great. They've not really focused enough on the defence and almost that solid type of midfield as well. So it makes them soft at times to be able to get at. And teams like Crystal Palace and Sheffield United are the type of teams that will really poke away and find that soft centre and exploit it.
And what about from Palace's perspective? It was a good point for them.
Great point. All of a sudden they're looking like a very good side home and away. You always know when you watch Crystal Palace, they're a better side on the road because they've got counter-attacking players. But they're looking a lot more solid. Normally when you watch Crystal Palace against the big sides, you never really fancy them. I'm talking years ago. This season they've had a good start. They've got confidence. And it's not the biggest squad in the world. It's not the most blessed squad in the world in terms of loads of talent and loads of world-class players. But they're very well organised under Roy.
Okay, well, moving on. Let's wrap up now Sunday's action. And Don, we're going to...
Gripe at the minute with VAR. It's like you have this opportunity to just take as much time as you need to get it right, and there's been too many that's been got wrong, even this weekend.
Defenders are not learning. Well, Will Zaha, the trickiest man in the Premier League, and Callum Chambers gets himself square on. You can't even attempt to foul him because he's probably got more natural ability than anyone in the Premier League. He's the trickiest player. And he gets any fullback. That's Seamus Coleman. He's been done 3 or 4 times. You've just got to hold your hand